speaker is Marissa Pulido Rebaya. She co-founded with her brother Mark the Agbayani Village Pilgrimage Organizing Committee in 2004. The organization's purpose is to preserve the Manongs legacy by bringing together students, educators, historians, labor leaders, and community activists for pilgrimages to Delano. Marissa has been a guest lecturer for college ethnic studies, sociology, and Filipino American farm worker movement. She and her husband Ralph Rebaya own a company that does aerial photography, which was used for some of the really beautiful overhead shots in Marissa Arroyo's Delano Manongs Forgotten Heroes of UFW, which Marissa is selling outside. So that's my plug too. Marissa Pulido Rebaya.
Well, I am so humbled to be sitting up here with these panelists. All of the things that they've accomplished and the issues that they've brought forward, and I am humbled, and I'm very honored to be sitting next to all of you. So I want to thank all of you for sticking around. I know that it's been a long day, it's been hot, and I thank you for sticking around to hear what our panel has to say, and I'm glad that you are here. Like Ron said, my name is Marissa Pulido Rebaya, and I was born in Los Angeles County. Grew up in Cerritos, and I still live there in the area today. Cerritos will always be my home, and that's just, I have so much love for that city. So if you're ever in the area or passing through, please stop by and visit the Pulido family, because we'll be happy to show you around. We love Cerritos. I'm here representing, like Don said, the Agbayani Village Pilgrimage Organizing Committee, and it's a group that I started along with my brother here, Mark Pulido, over 10 years ago in 2004. First off, before I go into that, I want to thank FON's Delano chapter, and in particular, especially Kuya Roger Mariano, and Kuya Max Becerra, and also Kuya Alex Delaware, for inviting me to speak at this momentous occasion celebrating the 50th anniversary of the Delano Grape strike, and celebrating our beloved Manongs, the original strikers. I'm both honored and humbled to not only be here in attendance at this occasion, but to also speak on this panel. I first learned about the Manongs as a freshman at UCLA in 1984. It was through my ates and my kuyas, the older students in Samahang Filipino, that was the Filipino student organization on campus. And I also took Uncle Roy's Morales' class, the Filipino American Experience. I spent my undergraduate years at UCLA not ever coming to Delano. I just read about the Manongs in the textbooks and heard about it from everyone else who visited our Delano village. I felt so left out. I was always studying midterms, chemistry finals, and I was so just, wrapped up in my studies that I didn't take a break and make that trip. But finally I did, after I graduated from UCLA, and it was in spring break of 1990. Everyone else was partying in Cancun or TJ, but we came to Delano. And it's the best thing that ever happened to me. That was 25 years ago, 1990, that I actually set foot in Delano. It was with my youngest brother, Rod Pulido, who was a film student at Long Beach State. And at that time, he had an EOPS counselor by the name of Andy Espinosa, who was from Delano. Andy wasn't a Filipino, he was Chicano. He really wanted to share the farm worker movement, in particular with Filipino students. I think that Andy was wise enough to know that Filipinos at that time in the 1990s knew nothing about the farm worker movement and our rich, glorious legacy of starting a movement. And because of that void, he sought my brother out on campus and said, "Hey, I want you and a group of your friends to come to Delano. Come to my house, my home, my parents' home, where I grew up. I'll school you." So my brother tells me, I'm already graduated from UCLA, what am I going to hang out with a bunch of Long Beach State people for? But he knocks on my bedroom door and says, "Hey, Marissa, you're not doing anything for spring break, just come with us, come with us." I'm like, I've always wanted to go to Delano, I missed out at UCLA, I'm there. Just, I didn't have a car, I didn't even drive. But I said, we can get some people together, let's go. So a group of Long Beach State Filipino American Coalition students got together and put our money together and rented an Oldsmobile car. There was only 7 of us that could fit in there, so that's how many came. We took the trek here to Delano. It was a road trip that I'll never forget. I'm going to take you back in time to this memory that I have. It's so vivid, but I remember as clearly as if it was yesterday. We drove up to the Espinosa home, and we got out of the car, and we were walking up the driveway. In the window, the living room window, was a man, an elderly man standing there, peering out at us, just waiting for us in anticipation as we were walking up. And it was so far away so that I couldn't see clearly who that person was. And as we got closer to the window and up the driveway, I almost lost my breath. I just gasped and I turned to my brother Ron and I said, "Oh my God, that is Vera Cruz." And out of the whole group, I was the only one who knew who he was. But I still wasn't sure because I was in disbelief and I was just kind of like, wow, what would he be doing meeting with us and talking to us? And so I turned over to Andy Espinosa and I said to him, "Isn't that Vera Cruz?" And he looked at me and he nodded and he says, "Yes, it is." We spent that whole afternoon talking to Mama Philip, with his wife Debbie Romer, with Roger Gariana, and Mrs. Beatrice Espinosa, and also her son Andy Espinosa. We even ate adobo that Mama Phil cooked. And to this day, I still can't believe that I was standing in the kitchen right across from me with Mama Phil, eating his plate of adobo just right along with me. And then afterwards, Andy and Roger, they both got together and they gave us a tour of downtown Chinatown where the moms would hang out. And they also took us over to Agbayani village. My life forever was changed from that day onward. I remember feeling my spirit was renewed and I was rejuvenated about life, about my career goals, about the future, and more importantly, about serving our community. Because before that, I was kind of like a disillusioned college student trying to find myself. Where do I fit in this society? What am I going to do with my life? Am I going to even amount to anything? Make not only my parents proud, but make myself proud. A few months later, after that experience in November 1990, we returned back with a larger group of 20 students, and this time, the group was from both Long Beach State and UCLA. So we dragged my brother Mark along, and his big girlfriend Gloria, who's now his wife. We again were hosted by the Espinosa family. They brought us in. They allowed us to spend the night. We all had sleeping bags spread out in the living room. On that trip, we also met again with Mom Phil and Roger. But this time, we also were in the presence of Mariano, Bob, Armington, and Alex Delano. The rest is history because for the past 25 years, Mark and I and our group have consistently been coming back to Delano. And in that amount of time, we have met with other Manongs over the years, Manong Benny Ortiz, Manong Sam Santiago Sarceda, Manong Felix Arroy, Manong Lourdes Tahile, Manong Estelita Cabañas, Manong Pete Velasco, Manong Dolores Velasco, and the legendary Dr. Albert Bagdaya. Because of the quality time that we spent getting to know the Manongs, and especially with Manong Philip and Manong Bob, my brother Mark and I felt a sense of purpose in sharing their legacy with the younger generation who did not have the opportunity to meet the Manongs before they had passed away. That is why we established the Agbayani Village Pilgrimage Organizing Committee. It's to continue coming back to Delano, because it really is a pilgrimage to come here. The mission is to educate others about the Filipino farm worker movement, and to share what we know about our beloved Manongs. But it is also a path towards self-discovery of who we are both individually and collectively, and ultimately a means to uplift our people through the knowledge of our glorious and historical contributions here in America. The handout that I distributed, this yellow one, is a timeline of the highlights. I know it's a small point, probably hard to read, you're going to need reading glasses like me, but I tried to squeeze in the 30 years of highlights that we personally and through the Agbayani Village Pilgrimage Organizing Committee have accomplished and have just highlights over the years. It was very emotional for me to compile this list and put it together, because as I reflect back on it, and I realize that there's so many young people that benefit from these pilgrimages. And I only hope that they in turn are passing on what they have learned, they are sharing it with others. For those who will still be around on Monday, if you're staying over, please join us to commemorate September 7th, Monday, September 7, 1965, when AWOC voted to strike. We'll be meeting briefly on the steps of Filipino Community Hall at 9 a.m. And then we're going to proceed to visit the grave sites of Manong Itliong and also Manong Bob Armington, who was the one that made the motion to vote to strike. And that's in the Delano Cemetery. And then we're going to proceed on to Bakersfield, because we're going home to Los Angeles. And we're going to visit the grave site of Manong Vera Cruz, where his ashes were dispersed. And then we're also going to proceed to the old Tehachapi Cemetery to visit the gravesite of Manong Velasco. And we will also be hosted by Manong Velasco, who is here with us today, but Mark drove her back home. And we're going to have a luncheon with her. So if you're around still, if you'd like to join us, you're welcome to. We have our information on the bottom. You can text us or call us on our cell phones. And hopefully we can meet up to really pay due respect and honor to these original strikers. In closing, I feel truly blessed by God to have personally known the Manongs. I feel so blessed to have been part of that unique and special generation of college students who visited the Manongs at Agbayani Village. We talked with them, we laughed, we played cards. Mark and Will and a group of Samahan Filipino students performed folk dances like tinikling. We just really enjoyed each other's company, and it felt like we were family, true family. In fact, we were their grandchildren, and they were our grandfathers. And during those last few years, there were only about a dozen left at Agbayani Village. This is about 1991. But I would like to name each of them. I kept a journal and I wrote each of their names when I talked to them. They are Manong Clemente Gonzalez, Manong George Cargo, Manong Maximo Hasadone, Manong Ciso, Narciso Oliveros, Manong Fred, Felicissimo Abad, Manong Vicente Suetos, Manong Benigno Pascual, Manong Belario Laguna, Manong Benny Macunga, Manong Emilio Desperos, Manong Ingracio Bacaso, and Manong Casimiro Milon. As I was preparing for this weekend, I dug up my scrapbook and all my photos, and I found one of the most memorable photos of my entire life. I say that because it was a snapshot or a freeze frame of my life that I can never forget. It's engraved, it's etched on my heart, and it's permanent, it's forever. It's like those tattoos that younger generation has now, that you can't remove, it's forever. And the photo is of Manong Ciso, Narciso Oliveros. He's looking out of his bedroom window. And I took a photo of him from the parking lot of Agbayani Village. At that time, when I was old school, we developed the photos and picked them up at the photo map. I would always write the date and the name of the person, because I knew that that's my archive. But in this particular photo, out of all my photos in the scrapbook, I made like a journal entry. And I want to read and share with you what I wrote. Manong Narciso Oliveros March 1991. As we tearfully say goodbye to the Manongs and get into our cars, Manong Cecil watches us from his bedroom window, which faces the parking lot. He stands there until we drive off into the horizon. The lump in my throat swells with an outpouring of tears, and I let them flow, not wanting to hold them back. That was the last time I saw Manong Cecil and the other Manongs at Agbayani Village, because a few months later, I left for grad school out of state, and they soon passed away. I would like to request that you please to join me in a rally cry. Mabuhay, Manong Larry Itliong. Mabuhay, Pete Velasco. Mabuhay, Fred Abad. Mabuhay, Manong